You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
Oh, hey, we're now recording.
It's Craig, everybody.
Let's escape. OMG, I'm back. I'm back, baby. Back in the game, baby.
You're back like Undertaker.
Again. And old.
I just started seeing, so somebody was like talking about it on Reddit. I was going through this random thread, and someone was talking about like people that had died, and they were like, "Oh, you mean like AJ Styles?" And I was like, "Hey,
yes,
what? I don't understand." And then someone put the video of the, I guess what was the intro to the match,
right?
And they set it to one Rolling by Limp Bizkit.
That was the Undertaker's intro song starting around 2000, 2001 when he went Motorcycle Undertaker, which apparently he brought back the other night.
He did that, and that's why apparently it works so well in the edit the guy made.
And he was rolling, keep rolling. Oh, me. Oh, what a time to be alive. Limp Bizkit's back.
Never mind.
No, they're not. Never mind.
I'm sure.
I don't think Fred Durst is ever making it back.
All I heard about WrestleMania was that, and then apparently John Cena was fighting projections of his past self.
You know, unfortunately, being the fact that I'm like now the worst wrestling on earth, I haven't watched WrestleMania yet.
That's fine.
Of course, if you want to know how bad a fan I really am, I still haven't watched last year's WrestleMania.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I told you I'm bad. Well, last year my excuse was I was working.
Okay.
This year I just didn't watch it. I'm just really down on everything not being live. Well, I mean, it was in like an empty arena. I don't know. I've heard some interesting things about that John Cena Bray Wyatt match.
Did you see anything from the Undertaker one?
How do you say it? Nope.
Nope.
See, I heard the Undertaker Styles match was really good though.
I mean, I literally saw the 1 minute video of the opening that somebody dubbed Rolling over, and I saw I've seen pictures of the end because it's memes. But it looks like they shot it out at some like really creepy rural barn area.
It was called a boneyard match.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, the boneyard is what we're soon going to be calling the Premier League.
Oh, because Liverpool's dropping. Oh God, what is it? Because Liverpool's going to be digging holes and taking souls.
There you go. Welcome to the Forfeit Podcast. One day.
Thank you, Undertaker 2000.
Oh man. Anyway,
I just did the reenacted the Great Gatsby moment where DiCaprio takes his martini glass or his champagne glass and toasts everyone out there. There you go.
As long as you're not doing anything from Wolf of Wall Street, we're good. Welcome to the Foreign Affair Podcast, everyone. Episode 309.
I might have midgets in the Velcro.
I should probably watch that movie at some point.
And actually, if I could be doing Margot Robbie, we'd really be in business.
There you go. We got plenty to talk about today, I guess. We will go very briefly over the latest happenings in the Premier League, which are things have been going swimmingly the past couple weeks. And this week was no different. No different at all. We'll talk that. We'll also talk a little bit about something we teased last week about television, and then we'll hit the watch for. And no, I don't think we'll do so raw.
No.
We
just gave it to you in the intro. That's all I know. I don't know anything else.
That's all I know too.
I can tell you who won a few matches. About it. So Braun Strowman's a champ. Drew McIntyre's a champ. Charlotte's the NXT champ.
That girl you like won something for tag team.
Alexa?
Yeah, she won some tag team.
Oh, good. It's actually in another room tonight. Good deal. I don't have to worry about the Amazon.
So there you go. There's so raw for the week. As always, presented by NGSC Sports at ngscsports.com. We never stop. Go check them out now, because they're covering stuff too, like the NFL draft.
Pandemic can't stop us. Nothing will stop us.
Damn straight. All right. So when last we left, there was the idea that, you know, maybe the Premier League would come together with its players and do wage deferment, and that was a big sticking point on when the season would go to, and all those good things. And they had a meeting. Well, first they had a meeting. This is the funny one. They had the meeting where somebody floated the idea that they might finish the season in China. That was interesting, to say the least. You know, because China definitely is good with the pandemic now. So, hey, I think last time I saw it reported is yesterday they had negative 36 deaths. So that was really good. That's a really good day for them to have negative 36 deaths.
That means they're bringing people back, right?
Yeah, that's Chinese numbers. You can't deny those.
Not from any part of this pandemic. Can you question any numbers from China?
Oh, I like this. One Premier League club director said of the China idea, quote, in this article from The Athletic, is of course from The Athletic, it's just a waste of energy. Let's just say we all want to start the league in life. Unfortunately, God and the pandemic can make this decision, and it does not look likely. So yeah, there was the idea of a 3 weeks of festival of football, where they would play in a few different locations and keep it insulated and stuff. Not unlike Major League Baseball is thinking of doing in Arizona, maybe. So there was that. They were like, you know, Premier League players, why don't you give us some money? Why don't you do the wage deferment? Hey, Lionel Messi's doing it. Cristiano Ronaldo did it, and they weren't made to do it. Why won't you do it, Premier League players? They were asked to see if they could do a 30% wage cut as of tonight. This is Wednesday, April 8th, 10:46 Eastern Standard Time. That hasn't happened. The PFA last week put out a statement on behalf of their league players, saying that they feel the owners should be doing more, which is, you know, if you've heard some of the latest news, not really surprising. We had FIFA, this again from The Athletic, FIFA decided to extend the 2019-2020 football season indefinitely, which means, you know, except for you, Belgium, everyone else can just kind of determine when we're going to finish. It'll be someday. You know, I think we kind of talked about this last week. You know, you almost kind of have to pretend that the 2020-2021 season might not even start and just make sure you finish out this one. So FIFA taking a step to do that. And then today out on The Athletic, Matt Slater came out with some very, a lot of words, but also some very, I was going to say pretty pictures. Not many of these pictures are pretty, of the financial states of some of the clubs in the Premier League. And yes, I did get your text. Because I didn't realize that as soon as I sent it, like literally 10 minutes later, I saw that come up, and I was like, "Oh, okay." But the picture I sent Wes a picture of this one chart that shows Premier League financial stats of pre-tax profit or loss in the last Premier League season. Tottenham was far and away number one, then Liverpool second, Man United a somewhat distant third, and then Newcastle and Wolves fourth and fifth. And I sent Wes the text that said, "Man, not a good look when 3 of the top 4 clubs in this list are furloughing their employees. It's not a good look." But hey,
I quickly answered you with what?
I can pull up the text right now. Actually, what have we got here? We changed our mind. The lesson, kids, always bow to public opinion. So that's exactly what Liverpool did.
Always listen to public outcry because they always have your best at heart.
Well, okay. So clearly, this could be applied to numerous things in life. But what do you think? Because I don't think we've really talked about this a lot on this podcast specifically. How did you feel? Because we saw people going hard in on Daniel Levy when he did it with Tottenham. We saw also similar with Mike Ashley over at Newcastle. And then news came out that John Henry was going to do it at Liverpool. And then, of course, today Liverpool reversed that trend. Do you have any thoughts on it, especially after your own club decided to do it?
Oh, man. You know, hearing about it at first, I kind of dismissed all this because this isn't really my cup of tea when it comes to it. I want to talk about the football. And the most important thing, which is the transfers and the stands. That's what I really want to talk about.
Yes, the non-COVID-19 related scandals.
Exactly. I hate COVID-19. I try to block it out of my life every day. You know, if I could, I would. But I do get the 6 o'clock Donald Trump press conference daily, which is just magical. God, this pandemic was built for Trump just to get out in front of the media and talk shit to him daily. It's hilarious.
That's what definitely a word for it.
Don't you go changing, Donald. Don't you go changing. So, and folks, you'll have to excuse me. I'm not an economics guy. I'm not up on all of it. Go figure. Yeah.
Shocking.
So, Business West says John Henry made a damn good business choice, let somebody else pay it. But when it comes down to the end of the day, I mean, this is a Liverpool club who are at this moment, they're basically printing money, man. Last few years under Klopp with the great runs the team put together, the new Nike contract, just winning the Champions League. I'm still not going to say that it's not a good business move for John Henry to do this.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have to take into account the club and the way that your support is set up for Merseyside in general is very well known to be very, I guess you could say, almost anti-British government.
Yeah.
It's a very liberal part of the country. It's weird because, it's they need the government in some part, but then they want to be independent and do things on their own. They just feel that taking the bailout at this time when there are small businesses that really the bailout's more directed toward. When a club like Liverpool is making the kind of profits that they're making, they just feel that a lot of people just feel that it's bad taste.
Yeah.
For someone like John Henry, who's a billionaire, for a club who's raking in, basically $100 million a year, it seems like. Well, I think what was their profit this past year? $42 million that they made?
I think so.
Pure profited $42 million. I mean,
their pre-tax profit was $42 million.
I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, pounds. Pounds even better. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. That's huge. And then to turn around and be one first, I'd say a few clubs who, hey, the government's offering us this money, we'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
It leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And if there's one thing about Liverpool fans, they are vocal. They will let you know when they don't like what you've done. This is not the first time that FSG has misstepped. There was the infamous walkout against Sunderland to protest a ticket increase. I believe 2016 or 2017 that happened. There have just been times where things have not gone over well. And really, when you think about it, you really break it down. I think ownership has done about as good a job as in ingratiating themselves with the fans, with the fan base, as they can. Especially, it was a very rocky first few years. Let's not forget that. Mm-hmm. When I was on here constantly, defending FSG and the way they did things. And I'm like, folks, you've got to let this play out. Things will come around. And now things have come around. Things are doing good. And it's just a misstep. But I mean, once again, you've got this very independent, liberal, very tightly knit subsection of the country. And then you've got an ownership group that A, is across the ocean from them. Mm-hmm. B is, they're used to a completely different way of things being run. Mm-hmm. British sports are not run like American sports. Some people argue that's a good thing. Some people argue, if they did, it'd be a whole lot more efficient. Mm-hmm. We understand, but they're not. And you're just going to get different backlash for different things. And I think it was a tone deaf move by ownership. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, it was blowing up in their faces, and I think they did the only thing they could save face, and that's backtrack on it and say, we did this, and now we realize this isn't the way to go. They're going to take some heat for this in the long run, but I think backing out of it also in the long run is by far their best option with this fan base.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite phrases. Read the room, Mr. Henry. Read the room before you make that decision. But yeah, you look at these pre-tax profit loss numbers from the 2018-19 season. Again, Tottenham almost over 87 million pounds, Liverpool almost 42 million, Manchester United 28 million, Newcastle 23 million. Those, of course, again, 3 of those 4 clubs. Now it's 2 trying to follow their employees. So, Mr. Levy, maybe you should also start rethinking that position. But one of the big things is, talking about, well, how do you look towards the future? Especially if, God forbid, the Premier League doesn't come back until August or September. And then you start looking at this same chart and you start looking at the bottom here, the bottom 4 clubs, Norwich at a negative 40 million number, Aston Villa almost negative 70 million pounds, Chelsea and Everton both in the red by over 100 million pounds. And that is, we've joked a lot and talked about how much money Everton has spent the last couple of years. Some of it looking to be quite wasteful in a lot of areas with their signings. But I mean, these are now real numbers, and when you're not making that money back from potential TV rights, from dates, from your home matches, for months potentially, you start to really see how bad things could turn for some of these clubs. And again, this is for the Premier League. This isn't even for championship clubs or even further down the line of the English football pyramid. This could drastically alter the state of professional football, and I mean that from the top level down in England. And I think there's a real thing of how many teams are going to be left when all is said and done. Yes, the Premier League the FA is trying to look into making payments and getting and running money down the pyramid, but there's only so much they can do. And I'm very concerned. I mean, granted, there's more things to be concerned about with the pandemic going on. But as far as football goes, that is one of my biggest concerns going forward. Yes, the Premier League will hurt, but there is going to be a lot of teams, I think, going under when all is said and done if we don't start play before August. I think there's going to be a lot of bad things happening. So, and
that's a scary. I mean, the Premier League is going to be fine. The teams, especially at the top of the Premier League, are going to be fine. You know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer kind of made a comment that, sorry, this is just going to be the reality, where the big clubs, at the end of the day, this is going to strengthen the big clubs because they're going to be able to go to these smaller clubs who may have a top talent that they want, a talent where normally, say, they'd hold out and be like, oh, you're going to give us £60 million for this player. Well, now a Man United, a Chelsea, a Liverpool, one of those teams is now going to be able to go to that club and be like, we'll give you 40. Oh, but we want 60. Yeah, but we know that if you don't sell them and get something for them, that you're in big trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ole kind of made the comment. He acknowledged that. I don't think it's gone over well that he didn't do anything other than really just acknowledge what the hard truth is going to be, where the Real Madrids of the world are, with the way that I think we're going to see kind of an evening out now of transfer prices again.
Okay.
Where the last 3-4 years they just skyrocketed. Yeah. I mean, it used to be, oh man, we signed a £20 million player. Oh man, that's going to be a big time player. That's a really good player. We paid £20 million for him. If you spent £30-40 million, you were getting a superstar. I think we're going to come back closer to those days because, I mean, everybody can't afford. I mean, Everton can't afford. Everton, I don't know. I'll just say Everton paying like £50 million for Richarlison.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's going to be in the future anymore. Did they pay $50 million for? I can't remember. I'm thinking that for some reason. But like the £50 million players, for good players, not great players, but good players are costing you that now. Especially potential is costing you that now. I can't see those prices holding because, now, well, A, there's going to be less clubs that can pay that. And B, the bigger clubs who have any brains to them are going to sit there and be like, I'm not getting in a bidding war. I'm not paying you what I would have paid a year ago just, for the hell of it. I'm trying to get the best deal I can. Let's work them down. Let's see what we can do here. PSG ain't going to get their money back on Neymar.
Yeah.
That ain't going to happen. Teams who maybe held on to a player for another year, like, another year and we'll double that. Yeah, your guy just went from 40 million to maybe 35 million and he got better. But Ollie kind of came out and admitted that, the bigger clubs, we're going to pick off guys from the smaller clubs. It's just how it's going to be. And that's a scary thought for the smaller clubs who, with the way those prices have been going up the last few years, they're sitting there like, hey, we've got one or two guys here who, we'll make £100 million off these two guys. And now suddenly that might have just got cut in half.
Yeah.
Which should even out in the long run and probably be better for the sport in the long run. But for the right now, this is going to be this could be a painful transfer window coming up for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think you bring up an interesting point, and I think we were heading towards a sort of unsustainable way of doing transfers, and that there was going to have to be something to kind of blow it up. I didn't. Obviously, a pandemic probably was
a pandemic.
Yeah, that wasn't probably what most people thought would do it, but this was in a lot of ways a ticking time bomb that was going to go off one way or another, and this may be the thing that explodes.
Right.
Real quick on that,
and some clubs did well. Liverpool getting 140 million euros for Coutinho.
Yeah.
Who, I don't know if you're bringing a player, but apparently there's talks of him going to Chelsea now, potentially on loan because Barcelona can't get anywhere near back what they want for him.
Hey, if you want to do transfer news in a minute, go ahead, man. I didn't have any on the docket, but I'm.
Oh, well, I mean,
totally...
it's just, I mean, there are just some rumors floating out there. The only ones I kind of have are a few Liverpool rumors, but Coutinho being one of them. Apparently, Bayern's not trying to take anything up with him. Barcelona I think it's insane that you paid 140 million euros for a guy and you won't even bring him back in the locker room and give him a chance.
Yeah,
but that's just Barcelona for you. They want to sell him big desperately to help fund the move back for Neymar.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not going to happen. Nobody's going to give him 100 million for Coutinho now. Liverpool Michael Edwards did maybe the most. Really, okay, let's look at the last 10 years of transfers.
Please.
And my God, Liverpool Football Club, we got 50 million for a broken down Fernando Torres. And then 140 million for Philippe Coutinho to go fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
We made 200 million pounds here, basically selling guys who we drained everything out of. We got every ounce of their genius out of them, and then sold them on. And it's like, oh God, what? So, and that is two. Well, okay, same ownership, but two different management teams who pulled that off. So,
yeah.
But good on you guys. Good on Liverpool, a decade apart, getting those two deals done. So,
wow.
But yeah, Coutinho out there. Timo has apparently said no to Inter Milan, I think. And the rumor, he's very highly connected. This looks like one that everybody can agree on. It looks like if there's one summer transfer right now that I had to say put my $5 down on for Liverpool, it would be Timo Werner coming to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Which would be an amazingly good signing for the Reds. Apparently, he said no to Inter Milan because he wants to go to Liverpool. Once again, it's transfer talk. Who the hell knows what's true? But also with transfer news, FIFA's made a lot of statements, and one of them being that they do want to have a traditional transfer window.
Good luck.
So, and I mean, that could be, whenever that timing is.
Yeah.
They're not saying, it has to be this date or this date.
Yeah.
But, it would be before the next season started.
Mm-hmm.
So, for whatever it's worth. So that's just something to keep an eye, because we've been talking about the last few weeks with contracts and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I believe there was an article in The Athletic the day after we talked about it last week.
Mm-hmm.
About what is the contract status of these players?
Yeah.
So right now it's like I heard someone say every day we're getting more clues as to what the future is going to be, but we still no one has a definite this is what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, who are we with our zero connections and just two guys who get together on a Wednesday night to talk football? This is basically our weekly chat session.
Mm-hmm.
And we invite you, our friends, in with us. But FIFA don't know what's going to happen. UEFA don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. But,
not even close.
Sure is fun to speculate, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Harry Kane's going to look amazing in red, by the way. Who's red, though?
Atletico Madrid's. Don't worry.
I was going to say England, but anyway.
Don't worry. We're getting Willie on it. Real quick on that, just to go.
Apparently, you guys are getting better by the day.
Yeah.
secret illegal workouts in the park where they're not socially distanced enough.
Yeah, that's Josie gonna
Well,
Josie.
luckily, him and Dominic are getting along.
Yeah, that's the best part about that.
That's all this is that they're bonding.
They're
I think
bonding.
they're quarantine buddies.
Hey, that's one way to get it going. Charleston's deal was 35 million pounds. With add-ons, it could become 50 million. So that is that just to put that on there. That was the deal to get him from Watford. Could be 50 million with add-ons. Last little story here before we head on to, out of soccer talk. This one comes from Awful Announcing, and just to make you smile a little bit, folks. Headline: Former Fox executives Hernan Lopez and Carlos Martinez face bribery charges around World Cup rights bidding. I must say, Wes, I for one am shocked by the fact that a World Cup rights deal would be tainted like this with FIFA. Oh, please, I don't want to believe it, but I guess if they're reporting it, it must be true.
Duh. I mean, who would ever doubt the sanctity of FIFA?
Seriously.
So what do you think? Are we going to have a World Cup in 2022? What are your thoughts?
2022?
Tell me, Edward Green. Yeah.
I think.
I heard something today that might get.
I don't know why would assuming, granted, this is a lot of assumptions about how the pandemic's going to go. Assuming that by sometime next year we will have a working vaccine and this will be under control and just become the new flu. Why couldn't we have the World Cup in 2022 other than just because we got to do qualification? I guess because it's delaying that. Is that the reason?
I don't know. I hate to say I didn't read the article.
Oh, that's perfectly all right. Why would you read the article?
Yeah, seriously. Well, and part of it's over this bribery thing, this whole everything
that's
falling
fair.
apart at FIFA at the moment. The Guardian is saying the World Cup's likely to stay in Qatar despite new bribery accusations in the U.S.
Oh, cool.
Qatar unlikely to move despite more bribe allegations. So, it's
FIFA.
Happen.
Why are we shocked?
I know. Well, The Athletic did come out with an article entitled "Is it time to talk seriously about canceling the 2022 World Cup?"
Interesting.
I guess that's maybe where I got it.
Let me see if I can find this real quick.
It came out about 12 hours ago. So
let's see. Inside. Okay, I see it from Ed Malon here. Talk seriously about canceling the 2022 World Cup, and it leads off with Dana White, who's oh boy, he's doing stuff. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, go check it out. We like to pimp the Athletic. We haven't read this article yet. I sure haven't, but go check it out. I'm sure it'll be interesting. Ed Malin writing again. Is it time to talk seriously about canceling the 2022 World Cup? I'll give it a read because wow, that would be somewhat shocking. I have to admit, I had not really given credence to the fact that could be shut down at this point, but things may trend that way. Who knows? So, all right, we can talk a little bit now about the thing we sort of teased last week, and that was spurred on by Wes finally hitting the big twist in the end of season 1 of the Good Place. So we wanted to discuss and just throw out a couple of our favorite big twists from movies and TV. And
by the way, let me finish up my Good Place real quick,
please.
So the other night I was watching it, and it was like 1:32 in the morning. I was like, I'm still like 3/4 of the way, into everything. But that time of the morning, you start drifting a little bit, and things happen. Yeah. Next thing I know, bam! Oh, I just watched the finale and didn't even realize it.
Holy shit!
Like the last 5 minutes it's like, wait a minute, what holy shit, what's going on here? And then she walks out, welcome to the, and he walks in and it's like credits. And I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. That was crazy. What happens next? It's like, oh, you're done. I'm like, wait, what the shit?
Yep.
No, I didn't realize I was watching the end. No.
Yeah.
So it totally just threw me for a loop, man. I was like, oh.
Wait, so you've only finished season 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's because that's all that's out on Netflix right now. Okay.
Oh, wait, is there a season 4?
Yes, there is a season 4.
Oh.
The final season. Which you can go watch on Hulu because you have an account.
Oh my god! Oh wow! Jesus, I didn't realize. I thought that was a series finale.
No, there is a 4th and final season.
Oh my goodness!
That picks up right from where season 3 ends.
Hello. I did not. Oh my god. Okay, my life has changed for just complete difference tonight.
Yeah. No, there is a 4th and final season.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Whoa.
So
color me, whatever.
It gets spicy.
All right, folks, that was a great pod tonight. Buying.
Oh my god. We'll get through the rest of this pretty quick, then, obviously.
It's fine.
So we wanted to talk a little bit about our favorites and stuff. If you want to list one of these as your favorites, because in my head I made this rule and I realize now I just never told you. I don't want to do there was 3. I don't want to do The Usual Suspects. I don't want to do Fight Club, and I don't want to do what's the third one? Fuck, there was one more I was like, I don't want to talk about this because everybody knows it's a twist and it's been done to death. So if you still want to talk about Fight Club, go ahead. I'm not going to hold that against you if you're going to talk about it. But I'm not going to because, I even saw Fight Club knowing the twist. And I was like, oh, that's still a really good movie.
Oh, see, I saw Fight Club early on and didn't.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Memento. Memento was the third one. Memento was the third
one. Gotcha.
Memento is really good, though. Again, great movies. Just, we know the twist at this point. But hey, if you have any of your favorites from TV and movies, I'd love to hear them now, and then I'll give some of mine.
So TV wise, one that just comes to mind really quick is one I just kind of finished recently was Breaking Bad.
Okay.
And I guess this is the big twist that everybody's kind of like, oh shit, because it was a moment. Yes, this is spoiler alert, but we're spoiling, so whatever. Yeah. When this was the moment where Walter White kind of crossed that threshold into, okay, this guy will do anything for self-preservation now, was when he had gone to Jesse's house to try to get him up to go cook, to go do some work. And Jesse had started dating Jane.
Oh.
And who's Kristen Ritter, I think that's her name?
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know that is.
Yeah.
So she had gotten him away from it, but what she had also done is had gotten him back to using heroin again. And it was all Walter White could do to try to get Jesse away from this. Hey, you need to stop doing heroin so we can go cook meth. It's like, stop your thing so we can do my thing. So he goes in the bedroom and they've both taken a big hit of heroin. And as they're laying in the bed, he gets Jesse to wake up. Kristen Ritter starts to choke her on vomit.
Oof.
And Walter White basically stands there, starts to move like he's going to roll her on her side to try to keep her from choking. And instead, he stands there and watches her asphyxiate on her own vomit. And basically lets her die. Because that solved his problem.
Hey.
and he walked away, and I think it was very late in that show before he ever admitted to Jesse what he did. And that was just that moment. It was like, oh my God, because there was always this humanity to Walter White. And now suddenly it was like, wow, that humanity is gone. Mm-hmm. It's like this man is a piece of absolute shit. So that was kind of the TV one. I mean, there are just so many shows. I mean, the Sopranos twist constantly when Adriana got killed. You know, and they're almost ones that you kind of see coming, but they're still the big twists. So they've all got it. Movie-wise, the ones I just want to hit real quick. You said No Usual Suspects, The Fight Club. I think the one everybody thinks of, which I thought Sixth Sense.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Yep.
Where, you know, Bruce Willis said, "What do you mean I'm dead?" You know, not what he said, but that's kind of what, you know, is implied, that he's dead. He's been dead the whole time. The Departed.
Yeah.
Had a fantastic twist where just when you think everything's happening, did you see The Departed?
I did not. I know. I've heard a lot about it. It's great. I think I almost watched it one time, but I never actually did.
Oh, it's magnificent. Well, don't let me spoil it, but I'm going to spoil it.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Basically, the twist at the end when he's arresting Matt Damon. Mm-hmm. Matt Damon. They come down the elevator. Bam! A bullet goes right through DiCaprio's head, and his brains are all over this elevator. And it's just like, what the fuck just happened? You know, it was like this entire thing just happened. At the end of Joker, there's a nice twist at the end of the movie Joker, which that was really good. That just completely left you holding the bag, like, wait, what the hell did I just see here? What just happened? Mm-hmm. And those are some of my favorite ones. You know, I remember Saw, you know, the first Saw movie where we were all about Saw. Everybody was all about Saw. And that had that big twist at the end.
Yeah, that was a big one.
God, just so much. Scream had a good twist in it, actually.
Yeah, the two killers.
Yeah, Billy. You know, all that good shit. But yeah, I mean, you know, the plot twist, man. There's so many. They're good. They're fun. It keeps us guessing. I love a good plot twist. I love a good plot twist, Raj.
Let me think. I would say for one of my biggest TV show ones, and this is a very deep cut. If you're a fan of Joss Whedon, the guy who did the first two Avengers movies, done a lot of stuff. He did Firefly, he did Buffy, Vampire Slayer, and he also did a show called Dollhouse, which ran for 2 seasons on Fox and starred, I believe it was Eliza Dushku. Very interesting show. And one of the twists is at the end of the first season, the episode starts like with people who aren't part of the main cast in this like post-apocalyptic world as this gigantic flash forward to what happens if this evil corporation that our team is kind of fighting against in the main show ends up actually succeeding and taking over the world. And it's a very weird way to kind of, you know, like you're go through the first 12 episodes of the show, especially for someone like me who watched it all on Netflix like 10 years after it came out. Oh, okay. It's a very big departure for that episode. There's also a lot of character twists. One of the main characters turns out to be a bad guy all along, and it's only revealed this to be in like the next to last episode of the series, which wraps up very quickly. It's like someone told them halfway through the second season, hey, this is going to be it. So you guys might want to go ahead and just start wrapping it up because it gets very quick at the end. So there's some very big, weird twists in that show. Very, very, very big for that. For movies, I would say, obviously, Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back. That's a pretty big twist in it. At the end of that movie, finding out Darth actually Luke Skywalker's father. That's a pretty big one. I actually quite liked the twist. It's from last year's movie, Spider-Man Far From Home, where hey, everything's going great. everything's good. MJ and Spidey are flying around New York. It's all good. And then it's J. Jonah Jameson is going to get that Spider-Man because he's a terrorist and he's Peter Parker. It's like,
that damn Jonah Jameson.
Jonah Jameson. So that was a pretty big one. I hadn't seen it, but I know that I know you've seen it. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has a decent little twist.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, because it's just like, well, everything you think that's going to happen because,
Yeah.
If
you know history. Yeah.
I mean, if you know the story that they tell the entire time until the very end. Yeah.
If you were alive in that time period and remember the realistic events that the movie is based off of, the movie sort of diverges from that a little bit.
Which is actually very, pleasing at the end.
It's a good movie. I will also say I've only seen like a few parts of this movie, and I'd never watched it through to the end, so I didn't know how this movie actually ended. And then I saw it come up in a Reddit thread, and I had to watch it. And oh, is it a good ending? Oh, it's an ending. Have you ever watched The Mist by Stephen King, the movie?
I haven't. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't.
It's that is an actual gut punch of an ending with the twist right at the end. So do you mind if I tell it, or like were you ever?
You go right ahead. I may still watch it, but I will not. I will not fear the twist and be pissed.
So the main character and his daughter and these two elderly people are like driving away from this mist that has these evil monsters in it that's killing everybody, and they're like driving away, and then the car kind of stalls out, and then they hear the sound of something coming after them. And so the main character's like, well, I have this gun. I guess this is probably a better way to go than getting dragged off by monsters. So shoots his son, shoots the two old people. Is about to shoot himself. Can't because he's run out of bullets.
Oh.
The fog breaks. The noise was the military. They've fixed the problem. They've killed the monsters, and they're looking for survivors.
Dear Lord.
And the movie ends.
Finn.
Yes, Finn. So there you go. The Mist. It's punches you. It's not a gut punch. It punches you in the kidneys repeatedly. So there you go.
Oh God, I just thought of one.
Go for it.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent Grant Ward.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like the first 2 seasons of Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is just fuck with my mind this week.
That show got so much better after the events of Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it's suddenly like, oh, wait a minute. Everyone's Hydra.
Yeah.
That's right. Everyone is Hydra. Everyone.
Yeah,
so that was, and then Grant Ward, who was like, he was almost like the main character, almost, right?
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was set up as like the actual protagonist of the show because he's like the guy that like gets recruited to this. You're like, oh, so the audience is gonna follow him, guy, and that's how it works with every other show. And then like 3/4 of the way through season 1, oh no, he's actually Hydra. Oh fuck.
Oh, no. Oh, he's a bad guy. Wait, what?
Well, that's unfortunate. That's an oopsie.
Well, I really invested in him, damn it.
Yeah. So did Daisy. If I invested, you mean sex.
That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other twists that were in any TV shows. I might want to pull up. There was a good one in Scrubs for one episode where it's Brendan Fraser's character is actually dead, but Dr. Cox is like imagining him, but you don't know he's dead until like the last few minutes in there at the funeral. That's a really good one.
There's some There were some episodes. Scrubs is one of my favorite shows ever.
It was really good. It's really good.
Me and my ex-roommate / heterosexual life partner Braxton, we were huge Scrubs fans. We used to love Scrubs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we'd TiVo because it always came on comedy. So even though we watched it regularly, like we could just TiVo it and just watch them whenever we felt like it.
Mm-hmm.
And for as much hilarity as there was in that show, man, every once in a while they would just drop a bomb on you in that show, where you're dying laughing through 3/4 of it, and then the last quarter you're like, oh my God, I'm a piece of shit. How could I laugh the entire time?
Every once in a while you get a very special episode of Scrubs.
And Dr. Cox is like one of my favorite.
He's great.
He is such a great asshole.
Mm-hmm. Grade A, amazing asshole.
That's right.
I'm trying to think of any other big twists.
I mean, there's other ones that I know of. I mean, God, like the Grey's Anatomy had a big one early on with Negan.
Sure, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, Grey's Anatomy had one that was like famous back. Mm-hmm. God, Walking Dead's had enough of them just to. The Walking Dead does it to you when they like kill off main characters.
Yeah.
I mean, there has never been a show like The Walking Dead where the show revolves around bam.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you killed him.
Yeah. I mean, only Rick has plot arc.
Oh, Rick is gone.
No, I thought he survived.
He may be alive, but Rick's gone.
Well, he's gone. Okay, he left the show, but he's not dead.
We don't think he's dead.
He's probably not dead.
He's probably not dead, but we don't know. Carl's dead.
Yeah.
How do you kill Coral?
Coral.
I mean, but Rick might not be dead. Jeffrey Epstein's dead, but
I will say because I just found this site that's going through some plot twists of TV shows. I will say this one. I don't think you watched Luke Cage, the Netflix show. I did not. I will say they set up Mahershala Ali, who's now going to play Blade, hopefully in a future Marvel movie. That's going to be awesome. They set him up in all the previews, the big bad, and he's like this like club owner who's like he's the big bad and he's acting like it. And then like halfway through the season, his sister kills him, and it's like, oh, so you're not actually the big bad. Oh, interesting. So that was a nice little plot twist. I actually really appreciated that one. What else? What else was there? Is there any other good ones? Oh yeah, everything from Lost, pretty much.
Yeah, I never watched Lost. But
I made it. See, I made the mistake. I actually read some Lost episode recaps when it was like season 4, season 5. So I knew about things, and then when I got Hulu, and it had like the entire run on it, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna just watch Lost."
Gotta watch it.
And I got through like midway through season 2, and I was like, I want to get to the parts I know about. Like it's not actually moving fast enough. Like let's go. And I just fell off. And I'm like, so maybe one day I'll actually go back and rewatch the rest of Lost. But like it was fine. I'm sure.
Go ahead. I kind of say that's kind of how I am with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
it's like I was in it. I think I've gotten through season 2, and then it was like, I'm going to come over here and watch something else for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those, I think I'll pick it back. But, I mean, since then I've watched The Sopranos, I've watched Breaking Bad, I've watched The Good Place. I'm getting back with Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, boy.
I haven't gotten that far. I think I'm on like episode 11 of season 7.
Okay.
I think the next one's called like The Therapist. So
a
few of them I've gone back and watched. I started off because I knew I'd seen the Hitchcock and Scully episode.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you start with that, where they get introduced to wing sluts? So I've started there, and then I think I'd watched a few after, but now I hadn't seen before. So
I mean, so now you've seen. There's a couple good ones now that I'm looking back through it. You saw the episode, The Crime Scene, where Rosa goes through 6 different hairstyles in one episode.
Yes, that was amazing.
The Honey Pot, where Holt has to go with barrels. Clearly.
Oh, that barrels, that was amazing. And I think the last one I just watched was Dr. Andrew Yee.
Oh, yeah, and Gintar.
Yeah, and Gintar. Gintar. And they had like a 3-minute conversation. Nikolaj, which me and one of my coworkers who watches Brooklyn Nine-Nine, we'll just look across the room at each other, just make eye contact, and I'll look around and say, no, it's Nikolaj. And we die laughing. No one else knows what we're talking about, but we laugh.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's all about?
It is. Nikolaj. It's so good. Think about it. Why would I take Gap and add costly letter, or Gap takes Gape and removes letter? What's making more sense?
That dude makes no sense. He was great. You have a mangled penis. Yes.
Yeah. Therapist is a pretty good episode. Like, it's not my favorite, but it's a pretty good one. I'm trying to let me see what else is coming up. K-Station is pretty good from a moving the series along standpoint. The Bimbo. The Bimbo is really good. Oh, the Bimbo. The Bimbo is great because it brings back Kevin Costner.
Oh, Kevin and his famous rice.
Kevin Costner, a.k.a. Sean.
Sean. That's right. He's Sean. Kevin and Sean. And he has the same range for both characters.
Yeah.
Right. It's like Kevin and Sean are like no different from each other.
Yes.
Except Sean's just this like holy evil being.
Yes.
And Kevin's just extremely cultured.
I like to believe that Sean based his appearance on Kevin and just decided to make him the most evil Kevin possible.
That's right. I agree with that. I like NBC.
It's all under the same umbrella now.
Woo!
So that's going to do it, I think, for our Watch 4 talk. Is there any other shows you're watching? Now that you have an extra season, a good place to go watch.
Golly, dude, that just... Wow, that changed everything. So me and my dad a week ago, we don't always agree on things to watch together. We didn't have any good war shows to watch that night. And he had been talking shit. So just a little background for you folks at home. My dad is, I'm throwing air quotes, biggest New York Yankee fan in the world.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of funny that I'm a Boston Red Sox fan since childhood, and he's made himself the biggest Yankee fan in the world. Well, just to really kick it up a notch, you ask my dad who his favorite Yankees are to name the greatest Yankees of all time. He can name 2 of them. Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle. What about Derek Jeter? Who?
Oh, my God.
Exactly. Mr. Big Fan over there. Like, well, man, what about Lou Gehrig? Who? Exactly. So, anyway, he saw something on Amazon, and it was a picture from Babe Ruth's retirement. So he said, let's watch that. It's about the Babe. What Pete didn't realize he was getting into was Ken Burns baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So we spent the first 2 hours watching all about an 1870s baseball. Episode 1 it's interesting, don't get me wrong. I've heard of maybe 2 people in there ever, one of them being Abner Doubleday. But we watched that, and he said, well, when are they going to talk about Babe Ruth? I said, well, we probably need to watch episode 2. So we're going to watch the entire Ken Burns baseball documentary eventually. Yeah, so I got that one on deck too. So, if it hadn't been so damn nice, I would have sat home and quarantined myself and watched a little more TV, but no, I went out and hiked at a state park and went running and all these breaking quarantine things that I've been doing by myself. My life is sad.
So sad.
I'm a sad boy.
So very sad boy. It's okay. All right. Well, that'll about do it. Real quick, this is not really something I've been watching, but more on my my occasional jaunty walks around the neighborhood. I have started listening to a new podcast called. I've only made it to the first episode. There's only, I think, 2 episodes out right now. Called The Darkest Timeline, which, for those of you who watched Community, may know what that is all about. And appropriately enough, this podcast stars one Dr. Ken Jeong and one not Dr. Joel McHale, who apparently are just really good friends in real life.
Yeah.
But they talk, the first episode is about 9. They said they were going to take viewer questions. They got through about 3 in those 90 minutes. And it's really nice to hear them talk and banter and everything. But I think one of the most interesting things, and I kind of knew this already, but to hear it over a full 90 minutes of just the back and forth is how much you notice it. The Joel McHale that is a real person is so much more wanting to shy away from praise and wanting to push the spotlight on literally anyone else, and no one doesn't want to hear anything good about himself, and instead wants to be like propping up others, which is so weird when you see Jeff Winger from Community or any of his other roles, or even Joel McHale from The Soup. That Joel McHale is a very different Joel McHale from the actual Joel McHale, and it's really somewhat disjointing to hear that over such a long period of time as this podcast is. But you can tell they have a very good friendship. It's very dynamic, and I'm interested to see how that'll keep going. There's a second episode out. Haven't listened to it yet, but again, that's The Darkest Timeline with Ken Jeong and Dr. I forgot his name.
Dr. Ken Jeong?
No, I was actually going to Dr. Joel. There it is. Also, I learned, because I've never watched the Hangover because I'm hip like that. Apparently, Ken Jeong gets naked at one point in The Hangover. Sure.
Oh yeah, you get to see everything.
Okay, right. So apparently, when he told his wife about it, he let her know that he was going to be doing this. Apparently, her response was, "Well, this will be the feel-good movie of the summer because every man who goes to see it will feel better about themselves when they leave."
Mm-hmm.
So that's
he is not. Let's put it this way: Dr. Ken Jeong not packing him.
Wow, I'm shocked.
Should I say Leslie Chow?
I am shocked to hear that. Shocked, I say. And also to hear that apparently whatever appears naked in took 40 takes. Whew.
Whatever, what? Say it again.
Whatever scene that he gets naked in, or appears naked, he pops out of a trunk or something, it seems like.
Yes, he does.
Apparently that scene took about 40 takes to do. That is a lot of beat.
Hey, dude, you've got time on your hands. You should watch The Hangover. Just the first one. The 2 subsequent ones need not be watched. I mean, they're fun. They're funny in their own way. Don't get me wrong. But I'm gonna tell you, just for Ken Jeong, for Zach Galifianakis, basically Ed Helms and Bradley Cooper. It is a really, the first Hangover is a really good, funny movie.
Interesting.
I would suggest you take your time and watch. Like I said, once Ken Jeong gets in there, he is a scene stealer, as he normally is. He is a scene stealing motherfucker in that movie.
That is standard. That is standard. So that's going to do it for Watch 4, and that's going to do it for this episode of the Foreign Affair Podcast. Again, we did so raw at the beginning. How much of that actually made the show? I don't know, but probably a little bit of it at least did. So you'll find out.
Rolling.
What? Oh,
Keep rolling. Yeah.
So good.
We'll stop rolling now. You're welcome.
Before we get sued. So once again, big thanks to NGSC Sports. You can find them on the social media as well as us on Twitter as a collective. We are at AFA Pod. Wes, you are?
I'm at West Bradshaw 21.
And I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. And thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music, and the iTunes Music Store. So we'll be back next week. I'm sure more crazy shit will happen with English football, and that'll be fun to talk about. But also, so I can go ahead and mention this to Wes, so he can be at least somewhat prepared, other than not at all, as sometimes
always a plus.
I thought after reading a couple articles here, and I'll read them from The Athletic. So this is somewhat of will be older articles by the time we actually talk about it. But one was by Keith Law on April 3rd, who used a dynamite picture of the Durham Bulls athletic ballpark here.
Yes, he did.
The article titled "Even with Baseball Shut Down, Specter of Minor League Contraction Looms." And then a Jason Stark article from the same day with the headline, "How Major League Baseball and the NCAA have left college baseball reeling." And so I think that, we've talked a lot about soccer. That's basically the raison d'etre of this podcast. But we also really love baseball. Wes and I do. So I figured maybe next week we talk a little baseball. And now everything's going
baseball.
Thanks to San Diego.
And the only next line I can remember, Steve Saxon is running with the law. King Griffey's grotesquely swollen jaw.
That's it. Thank you, Simpsons. Oh man, I will say we have gotten into a Simpsons binge. Thank you, Disney Plus. Because it's just all there. So we were like, I don't know. So just to put on for like when whatever, just as like almost background noise. I just started it in like season 5 and just let it run. Oh man, that show was really good. I wonder what happened to it.
It was.
Oh, it's a shame it went off the air. Real big shame.
Yeah, it's a shame it just disappeared.
Yeah, one of my
with the occasional randomly popping up that we acknowledge.
One of my favorite jokes. Man, it's too bad that they canceled The Simpsons after 10 years and replaced it with that other show called The Simpsons.
That's a good way to look at it.
So, yeah.
Once they became self-aware.
Yeah. Oh God, they're self-aware. So, yeah. But we'll talk a little baseball next week, and so that'll be fun. He says in air quotes. So that'll do it for this episode. Episode 309 of the Foreign Affair podcast. Before we get out of here, Wes, anything else you'd like to add?
I hate to be the one to have to end this.
Okay.
We send the humblest regards from the Foreign Affair podcast out to a guy who doesn't usually get too much good said about him on this show, but Pep Guardiola.
Yes.
Losing his mom to the COVID-19. That's rough. It's as the death tolls kind of continue to rise. I hate to sound insensitive as I say this, and just don't take it this way because different people are affected different ways. I don't know anyone who's died from it. I don't know anyone who's been diagnosed from it. You may. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of guessing you probably don't.
Yeah.
So, I can see a death toll all day on the news and be like, oh, that sucks. And, not saying that Pep Guardiola's mom is really any different overall than the thousands who have died from it, but suddenly you kind of put a name and a face with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of like, oh. And I mean, too, you hate for anybody to lose. We sent out our regards to Michael Davies earlier in the month on the passing of Trev.
Mm-hmm.
And, his was non-COVID-19 related, but, you hate to hear about anyone losing a parent, losing a loved one, something like that. So,
mm-hmm.
send our regards out to the Guardiola family, to Pep and all of his. As Ed's going to, just do what you can. Be smart. Trust me, no one hates this quarantine more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it. I hate staying at home. I don't think Lynn heard me say that. I hate staying at home. All I want to do is, every day I'm off, someone to hang out with. And like I said, I've done a little hiking by myself. I've done my running. I'm working out in the garage by myself. It is miserable. But we gotta nip this thing in the bud, folks. We gotta stop it.
So please stay at home and listen to this podcast. And we have at this point now 308 plus, because there's bonus episodes in there. Episodes of this podcast ranging from anywhere from 30 minutes to over 2 hours. You have content. You can do this. I believe in you. So,
or even better, you can do better than us.
True.
There's so much content in the world out there. Maybe you've listened to it all and you're just discovering us. In such case, go listen to us. Tell your friends.
Yeah. Tell
everyone.
We love. Hey, if you know someone who would like to sponsor us, saying, please. Anyway, that'll do it for this episode of the Former Podcast for Colin Cronin, Wes Bradshaw. I'm Edward Green. As always, please, and we mean it during this period of time, stay safe. And that's really it at this point.
And good night, everyone. There's no one I can really, go hard on at this point. So.
Good night.
We love you guys. We really do.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.